How's it going, everybody? I got another dream to share with you. Um, this dream, um, it was somewhat implanted in my head, meaning that I was discussing the subject before I fell back asleep, which was aliens. So it is somewhat of a suggestive dream. However, I don't think that makes it any less fascinating because of how vivid it was. And I would even describe it as being semi-lucid. I was semi-aware of what was going on, and I remember all the details of what was taking place very vividly. So basically, it started out with me driving around in what looked like generally the region that I am now, Southern California, somewhere where I am now, maybe a little bit further to the north or something. I was near the Pacific Ocean, and I remember being in a parking garage, and I remember going to the top of this parking garage, and it was like an open air one, and it was at night, and I was looking at the moon, and the moon had some sort of weird anomaly taking place with it. Like it started to look like it was melting, kind of. And after that, there was like an eclipse, like something eclipsed the moon, but somehow I knew that it wasn't the sun. And this object, it was like semi-transparent, translucent, and it kind of looked like how I saw the sun the other day. I saw the sun with this incredibly bizarre sunset that looked similar, and it was like shimmering and changing colors and morphing. I've never seen a sunset like that before, and this similar thing was taking place with the moon. And as this was taking place, I started looking towards the ocean, towards the Pacific, and I was looking at all these objects, all these like orbs of light, like literally like dozens and dozens of them coming out of the ocean up into the air. And they were just completely like enveloping the entire sky. These UFOs, they were literally like the typical groups of orb like light UFOs that you would see flying around all over the place. And I just kept staring and staring and staring, and then somehow, like the next thing I know, it was morning time, or it was during the day, it was no longer night. And so these craft, they landed all over the place. And I was still driving around in my car at this point, and the beings from the craft, they started to come out. And I remember distinctly that there were three types, and one of them looked like a gigantic bat, like literally like a 7 foot tall bat, with a face that somewhat resembled a bat, but it more closely resembled like some kind of rodent, like like I can't remember the name. Like the face looked like one of those giant Venezuelan rodents. It's like the biggest rodent in the world, and they were just sort of hanging around and looking at things and climbing things. And so I just stopped my car and I started to walk around, and I went into a building, and I saw like this other group of very tall, like 8-9 foot tall, like very muscular, very toned, like beings with this very like kind of like plasticky skin. It almost looked like silicone or something. It's like, imagine like the muscular way of Arnold Schwarzenegger, mix that in with Hellboy from the movie, and you blend like a human with Hellboy together and make that much taller with this pink skin. That's how they look like. And they weren't wearing any clothes either. They were like either partially nude or fully nude. And alongside them was another group. So let me go back to the other group right now. So their facial features were very similar to humans. Like they had eyes that looked like ours. They had a facial structure that looked like ours. And so the last group that I'm discussing was similar to them, as in they had the pink skin, and they had they're very tall and muscular, but they had a completely different facial structure. Like their eyes were completely black, and they were bulging out of their head like an insect or a spider. And but otherwise they had generally the same appearance. So what happened after that was like one of the most interesting things. So this time now I'm not looking at the sun. So I go out and I look at the sun, and there is a humongous ray of light coming from it, shining down on us, on everybody. And it just looked like this large beam of light. And it was really beautiful, actually. And that's when I woke up. All right, bye.